There are a lot of differing opinions here in the podcast space, from the type of microphone you should use to the format to how much research you should do on your episodes. But one thing that seemingly every podcaster has an opinion on is the Blue Yeti microphone. It seems to get panned by longtime podcasters, but still tends to be a pretty popular option for people at every stage of their podcast. So today, I am going to explore the question of, is the Blue Yeti microphone really as bad as people say it is? Hey, everybody, my name's Joe Casabona over here at Podcast Workflows, and I love helping podcasters, whether it's with their gear, their workflows, growing their show, or monetizing. And a topic that seems to come up pretty often when I am interviewing people for my podcast or when I'm coaching podcasters is in and around the Blue Yeti. So if nothing else, this video is going to serve as a reference for them. So first of all, what is the Blue Yeti? This is the Blue Yeti. Blue is owned by Logitech now, but you've probably seen some version of this microphone. It's big, metal, sturdy, pretty iconic, I think. And then it's got this big metal stand, but it also has on the bottom here a little hole so you could put it on your boom arm if you want, which I always recommend having a boom arm because it keeps your microphone off the desk, and when you bang the desk it's less likely to vibrate the microphone, and a bunch of other reasons why you should have a boom arm. Now the Blue Yeti is pretty heavy, so like a $13 boom arm isn't going to do it, but that's neither here nor there. The reason that podcasters don't like it is because it doesn't always sound good. And if you want the receipts, I posted this on LinkedIn this morning. I usually don't get much engagement on my LinkedIn posts, but you can see there are people, Terry Rice, my friend Terry Rice, saying people don't know how to position it. Ashley saying, I love my Blue Yeti. Joel, my podcast editor, actually saying never really understood the hate, but then goes on to say getting users to speak into it correctly. That's another thing. We have a very strong opinion here about how the Blue Yeti should be used. And then we have a podcaster saying doesn't mind it for calls, but wouldn't recommend it. My friend Neil always has a strong but very informed opinion, asking me if I wasted my money. So lots of opinions on this microphone. I want to settle this a little bit today. One of the reasons the Blue Yeti is so popular is because it's really easy to use. It's a USB microphone. I plugged it into my MacBook back here, and I just had a microphone. I didn't need to worry about setting it up or plugging in some sort of interface or anything like that. Now it does come with a USB cord instead of a USB-A instead of USB-C. So with my MacBook Air, I did have to have a adapter handy in order to use it. You might find that's the case if you're using a laptop. And I think that's another reason, right? Because the Blue Yeti, if not configured correctly, picks up a lot of sound. And so if you have it next to your laptop and your laptop fan is going, people are going to hear the fan. So I think that it's a mic that it's easy to get started, but it's not very straightforward if you want to use it correctly. And so let's talk technique. When I talk to people about their Blue Yeti, they don't know about these knobs on the back, right? They don't know, or they've never touched them. So the settings that you see here are the ones that came out of the box, right? The top knob is for gain. This is how sensitive the microphone is to sound. So the lower the gain, the less sensitive it is, the less room noise it'll pick up, but the quieter it'll be. So here's my Shure SM7B. This is a pretty industry standard podcast microphone, but it's also $400, and the Blue Yeti is sub $100. So if I turn the gain down, you might not be able to hear me. you can probably hear me better here. And when I'm all the way up on the gain, right, I may sound a little bit blown out. If I check my monitor here in Ecamm Live, it's spiking a little bit, right? Whereas if I turn the gain down to the sweet spot, I have found it's all green. That's good. That's what we want. So if people aren't messing with this knob, the gain knob on the back, then they're going to sound too quiet, or if they turn it all the way up, they're going to sound blown out. But I think even more important is that second knob, the one that's labeled pattern. These are pickup patterns, which is uh, how the microphone picks up sound. You could see that there are 4 pickup patterns here. The first one is just called stereo. And I was a little bit confused with this because I saw it and I'm like, this is not a pickup pattern I'm used to seeing. It's just called stereo, which means that if you talk into the left side of the microphone, it'll only go in the left speaker. If you talk into the right side of the microphone, it'll only go on the right speaker or headphone. And if you talk in the center, then it should show up in both. We'll do an audio test in a minute. So that's stereo. The rest are proper pickup patterns. One, the circle is omnidirectional or omni mode. It's going to pick up sound from all around the microphone. The heart-shaped one is called the cardioid pickup pattern, or cardioid. I always say cardoid. The cardioid pickup pattern. This is only going to pick up sound from the front of the microphone, and we'll get to that in a minute too. This is where you want to be if you are a podcaster. And then the last mode is bidirectional mode, which means that you can see like the gray parts on this chart is it'll pick up from the front and the back. And if I look, mine was by default in stereo mode. So if somebody does mess with this and they do like bidirectional or they leave it on stereo mode, this is where you're going to get a lot of room noise or fan noise, right? This is where I think a lot of podcasters can fall down. The other place that podcasters can fall down is the way they adjust the microphone. So I've seen people adjust the Blue Yeti like this in the top, or they will have it, God help me, I hope I don't break this or myself. They'll have it above them or off like this, and they're talking into the top. This is not a top address microphone. It's a front address microphone, or based on the pickup pattern, sides, right? But you don't want to talk into the dome piece. You want to talk into the flat or cylinder piece. That's another place, because then you're going to sound echoey. So I think you want to consider the technique, right? You want to have the gain in the right spot. You want the pickup pattern to be appropriate, and you want to address it the right way. So with that, let's actually move to a sound test. So I'll push this microphone away and mute it. And now I'm talking into the Yeti. Frustratingly, I can't monitor my audio at this point because I'm not using the headphones plugged into the Yeti. So I can't really hear myself. But what I can do is check. Okay, so this is stereo mode. So I'm talking into the front of it now. I'll turn the gain a little bit up. Here's the other thing. I'm like already close to spiking and the gain is all the way down, and I'm not I'm like not very close to the microphone. They say you should be 4 fingers, right? Which is a very uncomfortable position if you're going to stay there. So anyway, this is stereo mode. Talking to the front, talking into the side. I spiked, it looks like, a little bit on the side here. Talking into the other side, right? So that is stereo mode. This is omnidirectional, and it's spiking more, right? You can probably hear the snap a little bit good, like better there. And again, I'm going to remind you that the gain is all the way down. The gain is all the way down. If I turn the gain up, now it's all the way up, and I'm not talking very loudly, and I'm spiking, right? So, hey everybody, Editor Joe popping in here for a second to show you a little something on the waveform here. So you can see right here is where I'm talking into my Shure SM7B, right here. is where I'm talking into the Blue Yeti. Significant difference. And then look at the spikes here. Now, if I go here, so yeah, this is exactly where I switch back right here. So switching a little bit. And then this is, I think, let's see, where I do the podcast read, right? So it's, you could see there's spiking, right? This is bad. This flattens the audio. So, I think what I said. Now I'm like banging in the middle of this video here, so stay tuned for the thrilling conclusion. But I wanted to show you this thing that I was highlighting in the video. It's all the way down, and I'm talking at what I think is a normal volume. So this is omnidirectional. You can hear me okay here, 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 and around the back. If I'm talking into the top, I assume I sound echoey. Again, I can't hear myself, so I'll have to check in the edit, but this is how a lot of people address the Yeti, and this is problematic, right, as Terry said. Okay, now this is the cardioid pickup pattern. If I talk to it in the front, you should hear me okay. Around the side, I probably sound echoey. Around the other side, and then around the back, you shouldn't really be able to hear me at all. Or at least not at all, but like I'm not very clear. I'm very echoey. This is and again, the gain is all the way down here. And if the sound level on Ecamm is to be believed, I'm still getting close to spiking. So this is the best setting, right? And again, I'm a little bit hunched over. I'm, probably like that distance from thumb to pinky away from the microphone. It's recommended like about 4 fingers. But again, I'm like hunched over. This is uncomfortable. If you're going to have it on a boom arm, then it's going to be elevated, or it's going to be upside down and elevated. But you're going to want it in front of your face, right? My audio when I had the Blue Yeti was always good because I addressed it the right way and I had it configured the right way. The last pattern is bidirectional. I just spiked there. Again, gain is all the way down. You should hear me okay here. If I snap in the back, that's probably pretty loud. If I talk on the other side of it, you could hear it, but it's echoey at the very least around the sides. This might be good if you're talking to another person with one microphone, but like there are setups that exist that everybody can have their own, and that's recommended because then you get everybody's track cleanly. So this is the Blue Yeti. I'm going to bring in the Shure SM7B, which I can now hear. It's unmuted. You can hear the difference in the two. So I'll just do my normal podcast introduction. I will set this to cardioid, since that's the recommended one. So you could see cardioid gain all the way down. I should also say, I didn't say this in the beginning, but this is plugged into my computer, no processing whatsoever, right? No additional gain adding or processing. It's just the clean audio from the Blue Yeti. This is plugged into my Rodecaster Pro. There's phantom power on it to get the appropriate amount of volume and gain on it. And there's maybe a little bit of processing on this one, but I get as clean as audio as possible. And then my editor basically fixes it in post. So I won't be making any edits to my audio for this video because I want you to hear as clean as possible. So they're going to be at approximately the same distance. We'll do this like this. Okay, and then I'll kind of turn them so they're both in a front address situation. Okay. And I guess just so you can see, so this is what it looks like in front of me right now. Okay, so I'm going to do my podcast intro. I'm going to switch without stopping so you can hear like an uninterrupted sentence from first the Shure and then the Yeti. All right, here we go. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of How I Built It, the podcast that asks, how did you build that? Today, my guest is Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees. It is opening week here in the United States, and the Yankees set to play a relatively new rival, the Houston Astros. Aaron, how are you today? Okay, so now I'm talking on the Yeti. I'm going to switch back to the Shure SM7B. So now you've got the comparison, both about the same distance, gain all the way down on the Yeti with the cardioid pattern, the best possible setup to get the best possible sound for one person speaking into the microphone. Would I recommend this microphone for podcasters? No. There are better options out there at the same price point. And I'll put some recommendations in the description, but like the Samsung Q2U is good. The Audio Technica AT2100X, really good. They are both the same price, and I think they are better. If you want to spend a little bit of extra money, the Shure MV7, which is kind of in between the Yeti and the SM7B as far as price point goes, really good. If you want a mic that's out of frame, the Yeti is not it. I think the MV7 is probably it, or like a shotgun or boom microphone, right? Now, if you have the Blue Yeti already, and you're wondering, am I screwed? Do I need to get a new microphone? I wouldn't I don't think you have to get a new microphone, but here's what I do recommend. You want the gain, and you're going to want to test this. You're going to want to monitor this, but you're going to want the gain as low as possible without you having to shout into the microphone. You want to use the cardioid pickup pattern. You want to address it from the front. And you probably want, I think 4 fingers based on the monitor here might be too close, but you'll probably want to put this on an arm so that it's a little bit more convenient. But, I am a seasoned podcaster and online educator. I've been recording a lot, and I'm struggling to have this in a good, forgiving position. I think I just spiked there. And so, if you're going to have it far away so that you're not spiking, then, which you don't want to do, right? If you spike, right, the wave gets red or the sound bar gets red, that's like an unfixable thing. Like you can't fix that in post. With echo, you can fix it in post, but you don't want to do a lot of fixing in post. So, I think that if you have the mic, you want to put it on an arm, you want to address it from the front, you want to have a cardioid pickup pattern and the gain down as low as possible. Then position the mic far away, like talk regular, test it with a friend, just have a conversation and try to observe, or record yourself talking for a little bit and see where you spike, which is a lot of work, right? That's like not why people buy the Blue Yeti. They buy the Blue Yeti so that they could just plug in a microphone and go. But you can't really do that. You need to get it dialed in. For podcasting, this could be great for other things. I know like ASM artists use it because it's got the stereo mode and it's really sensitive, and that's like good for ASMR videos, I guess. But or like gamers, like it could be far away and they can like yell and scream or whatever they do when they stream. But for a podcaster, there are doing like any kind of voiceover, I think there are much, much better options out there. So if you have it, those are the things that you can do to get the best possible quality out of it. So thanks so much for watching this video. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about the Blue Yeti. Do you love your Blue Yeti and you can't believe I wouldn't recommend it? Do you hate your Blue Yeti or the Blue Yeti and can't believe I'd recommend it under any circumstances? Are you in the market for a new microphone? Leave a comment below. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel for more great content, and until next time, I'll see you out there.